You know that satisfying feeling when you find a job description where your years of experience, your degree, and your technical skills line up? Every requirement on the page clicks perfectly into place with your resume. You hit submit, feeling confident. And then, sometimes within hours, you receive a sterile, automated email thanking you for your time, but stating they are moving forward with other candidates. If a company takes the time to explicitly state their requirements, and you meet every single one of them, why are you eliminated before a human being even reviews your application? You've likely encountered the job description trap. The rigid checklist of requirements you see on the screen is often a placeholder, a public-facing document that doesn't always reflect how the company actually makes its final decision. When you see the trap for what it is, the weight of that rejection changes. It moves the focus away from your own perceived inadequacy and onto a hiring process that operates with two different sets of rules. Inside the HR department, recruiters often use the posted job description as an absolute binary filter for the hundreds or thousands of people applying through the main career portal. If a candidate is missing even a single bullet point, they are dispositioned. That's the clinical term for being removed from the pool before a hiring manager ever sees the resume. This is the front door funnel. Because of the sheer volume of applicants, most are algorithmically or manually blocked by a filter of strict minimum qualifications. For this general pool of applicants, the requirements on the page are treated as absolute laws. There is very little room for nuance or equivalent experience. In this context, the application process acts less like a search for talent and more like a high-volume elimination system designed to reduce the number of resumes at any cost. But there is a second path, the side door. This is the route taken by a hiring manager's former colleague, an internal referral, or a personal connection. For these candidates, the unyielding rules of the job description often begin to soften. A personal recommendation carries enough weight to override the standard filtering process. Behind the scenes, the metrics shift. In this comparison, you can see how 5 years of experience drops to 2, or how a required degree becomes preferred. This lets the role be filled by someone with fewer on-paper qualifications than external candidates automatically rejected. If you were qualified but still didn't get an interview, these shifting metrics explain why. You were competing in a system where the written requirements are a final barrier for some, but only a starting point for others. Once you recognize this disparity, you can stop treating the rejection as a final judgment on your skills and start using it as a data point for a professional follow-up. If you clearly exceed the minimum requirements and are rejected before an interview, you have the right to ask the hiring team for clarification based on the metrics they published. The key is the tone. If you lead with professional curiosity rather than frustration, you move the conversation from an emotional one to a logical one. You can reach out with a direct question. Was I not selected due to the minimum qualifications listed, or were there other factors involved? This question asks the company to clarify their standards. It highlights the gap between their public requirements and their actual hiring behavior, forcing them to either explain the discrepancy or reveal the hidden criteria they are using. There is one final question that addresses the consistency of the company's hiring standards across the entire team. The question is simple. Did every person currently in that role meet the posted minimum qualifications when they were hired? You may not get a response, but the act of asking professionally signals that you understand how the system works. It places the burden of consistency back on the employer. Using this approach changes the dynamic of your application. You are no longer just a resume in a database. You are a professional who understands the internal mechanics of hiring and expects the process to be as objective as the job description claims.